Hey everybody, Joe here. I have to apologize for my stream that I put up a little earlier this afternoon. I had some rather extreme technical difficulties here while trying to put it up, totally due to my own stupidity and some things that I totally effed up on big time. What I am doing right now is I'm re-recording at least a small portion of my stream that I put up this afternoon, primarily because of the importance of the content that I did have on there. What I was talking about, if you didn't catch it, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who didn't catch it, considering the fact that there was practically nobody in the chat room or anything like that, even though I had put out um, a lot of advertising about the fact that I was going to be doing this stream earlier this week. And I'm kind of sort of glad that nobody did show up, because I would have looked like a total freaking idiot. And I am the first one to admit it, and I apologize to each and every one of you out there for my, shall we say, totally less than stellar performance this afternoon. The reason why I'm recording this is the content that I did have this afternoon was, I feel, very, very important, extremely important. So I guess you might call this a little bit of a vlog as opposed to a live TV stream, which it really isn't. I'm recording it using the same splash screens and everything else because, um, well, because I promised that I would put this out as a live broadcast, so I'm just using it instead of recording it the way I would normally record a vlog or something like that. So what I talked about this afternoon was about a thing that was started by Dr. Maria Glover from New Zealand. She's been working very closely with the smoking cessation clinics and other organizations out there in New Zealand for quite a few years now. She is a very, very outspoken and very eloquent proponent of vaping and e-cigarettes. And I know you've probably heard this a lot of times, and I'm going to say this again to you right now, Maria, if you happen to see this. Thank you very much for all of the work that you've done on behalf of vapors the world over. I know you're very concerned about your people. The Maoris are a very, very honorable people, from what I've heard from not only my father, who served in the South Pacific during World War II, but from a lot of other different people the world over. They're a very fierce group of warriors. They're very honorable. And I want to say to you, thank you for all that you've done, not only for your own people, but for everybody else. And I have to apologize to you specifically for not being able to get this message out the way I intended it this afternoon. I totally botched it up, and I apologize to you for it. But I hope this makes some amends. To the rest of the world out there, I'm going to say this. What I was trying to talk about earlier this afternoon, in my own stupid, feeble way, was that Dr. Glover, Maria, has started an initiative called Vape It Forward. I learned about it earlier this week from a tweet that she happened to put out about a smoker that she had met years ago and that she happened to re-meet again. And he mentioned that it was crazy about how he was not able to easily get nicotine in New Zealand to be able to do his DIY, and how hard it was for him to do his DIY because of it. When I read that, I tweeted back to her that it was a shame that we couldn't, for lack of better words at the time and for even now, set up a, quote, care package for people like him. She almost immediately tweeted back that there was a way of doing it and that he could receive gifts of nicotine from outside of New Zealand that were addressed specifically to him. And she told me to go to her Vape It Forward page. Well, I did, and I couldn't make heads or tails out of it. I tweeted back to her and let her know that I couldn't turn around and figure it out, and she reworked it. Well, I went back there, and sure enough, she had, and it's a little bit easier to understand. The instructions that she put up there were quite good. And I'm basically going to run through those instructions now with you, and I'll explain the reason why for that in a minute. Let me put up a short splash screen here so you can see what I'm talking about while I'm talking about it. So bear with me for a second. This is the information that I got. What it is basically, if you go to twitter.com/vape it forward, on that screen you will see to the left hand side the Vape It Forward picture that she put up there. And just below that, you're going to see two blue boxes. Those baby blue, sky blue, whatever you want to call them boxes, I think it's tweet. And then the one just to the right of that is going to say message. If you click on that message and type out your message, basically saying that you're willing to donate a 30, 60, 120 milliliter bottle of juice, they will tweet back to you with the name and address of a needy vapor in New Zealand who could use the help. And what you would do is you'd then package up that little bottle of juice and send it off to them. Now, the reason why this is so important is very simple, is that a lot of the low income / no income vapors in New Zealand have very little access to being able to get nicotine from outside the country. As I said before, they can't get it from local brick and mortar stores, the few that are around. Most of them, I understand from what I've read in, or heard, I should say, in the interview that you'll see there just at the very bottom of the splash screen that you're seeing now, that Dave Dorn did with Dr. Glover on his Vapor Trails TV show of 10 March, that there are very few, compared to other places like here in the States, brick and mortar stores in a good part of New Zealand. And most of those vapor stores that are in New Zealand are in the bigger cities like Auckland and I think one of the other major ones is Wellington. I'm not very familiar with the lay of the land in New Zealand. Um, I've never been there, though I've dreamed and imagined a few times that I could go there. Um, Maybe one of these days I will, but that's neither here nor there. But in a lot of the more poorer towns and stuff like that, lying outside of the major cities, there are very few, if any, brick and mortar stores that are there. And the ones that may be around can't sell liquid nicotine. They cannot sell it. And I'm not sure if they can get regular e-juice. I believe they can, but they may not. Somebody can always put in the channel notes down below whether or not I'm correct in this or not. They have a hard time getting it. In order to get nicotine, a lot of them have to go outside of New Zealand. They have to go onto the internet with a debit card or a credit card, make the purchase of their e-juice or their nicotine, have it shipped into the country. Now, when they have it shipped into the country, not only are they paying a lot more for it because of the difference in valuation between the American dollar and the New Zealand dollar being taking more New Zealand dollars to equal the American dollar than the other way around. So in what would cost 10, 15, $20 here in the States might cost them anywhere 25, 30, $40 New Zealand. Plus they also have to pay for the shipping to get it in to the country. I believe New Zealand, like most other countries that used to be under the British flag, also have what's called a value added tax, or VAT, VAT, which is basically a national sales tax on all purchases either inside the country or coming into the country, and on services as well. So when that bottle of e-juice or that bottle of nicotine hits New Zealand's shores and it is inspected by New Zealand's customs department, it gets forwarded on to the local post office, but it doesn't get delivered directly to the person. They have to come down to the post office to pick it up. And they would probably have to pay the value added tax at the post office before they can actually get that juice slash nicotine in their hot little hands. As you can see, purchasing juice from outside the country or purchasing nicotine from outside the country, for somebody who is having a very hard time not only putting food on the table, but paying the bills and keeping the lights on, and if they are lucky enough to have a job, being able to get themselves from home to the job and back again for the average work week, so that way they can make their next paycheck, is going to be an extreme, extreme hardship. The kind of hardship that would cause a lot of people who are smokers to remain smokers because they don't have debit cards or credit cards. They may not have reliable, or if any, internet access to be able to hit those websites outside of New Zealand to be able to make that purchase. And if they are lucky enough to have that debit card and internet access, they might not be able to afford the extra cost that it's going to cost to purchase the e-liquid or nicotine, ship it into the country, and also pay any value-added tax that may be due on it when they finally get it, when it finally gets there to New Zealand. What I'm saying is if you, as a vapor here in America, in Canada, United Kingdom, France, Spain, Portugal, the Low Countries, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Poland, Austria, Switzerland, any country in Europe, any country in the world for that matter. If you have access to the internet, if you have a debit card or a credit card, and you can afford to donate the cost of a 30, 60, 120 milliliter bottle of juice, and it's not going to break your bank. Think about this. The next time you place an order for one bottle more of whatever size you can afford. When you get it, put it into an envelope. Or a box. Box would be better. Go to the Twitter page that I showed you before. Get in contact with Vape It Forward. Get the name and address of a needy vapor over there in New Zealand who could make you very good use of that juice. Ship it off to them as a gift. When you fill out the customs form, mark it down as a gift. Ship it over to them. Help them out. If you happen to be able to afford, without putting yourself out, to get 1, 2, maybe even 3, I don't know how good your finances are, and that's your business anyway. But if you could get a starter kit, like an Innikin T18 or T22 or something similar to that, and it's not going to break your bank, order one. When it gets to you, pop it into a box. You can even pop it into the same box that extra bottle of juice that you ordered. Pop it in there. Ship it off to them. Ship it off to somebody over there who's a vapor or a smoker, better yet, who can't afford to go out and buy that T18 or that T22 or something, like I said, something similar to that. Ship it off to them. Help them out. Help convert that smoker into a vapor. Help out somebody who's busting their chops to turn around and keep food on the table, and who's smoking because of all the stress and everything else that they've got in their life, and who's been smoking for a few years, and who's got kids and a wife who might want to turn around and see them around for a lot longer. Or one of the ladies who's there taking care of 3, 4, 5 kids and barely able to turn around and put food on the table. Her husband's out working. She's got bills that she's got to worry about. And she's smoking because of the stress in her life. And she's trying to turn around and she wants to quit, but she can't afford to quit because she can't afford that initial kit. Send that initial kit off to them. Help them out. If you can do it, I would ask you very much to please do it. If you want to learn more about this than what I'm trying to explain to you here, very poorly explained, I should say, go to the Vapor Trails TV show that Dr. Glover did that was up there on that splash screen before. I'll put it up again so you can see what I'm talking about. There's the splash screen again. That's the one at the very bottom there that ends in JM29M. Go to that. She explains it so much better than I can ever begin to do. I just said to her that I would try to help out in the poor way that I can to help get this message of hers out. Try to help her and her people. If you can do it, they would probably be very, very grateful for whatever help that they can get. If you can do it, please take the time spend a couple of extra bucks. Help these guys out. And that's pretty much it. That was pretty much the content that I was going to be putting up, and I tried to put up on my broadcast this afternoon. My broadcasts that I do on Vapors TV are pretty much driven by the people that show up there and the interaction I have with people on, through the chat. And the way this thing turned out this afternoon, I'm really half glad that more people didn't show up, because it was a total bollocks. I completely bollocksed it up. And I do apologize to those people that may have seen it. To those who didn't see it, I'm glad you didn't. So, thank you very much. Like I said, I'm going to put this up as a vlog. Um, if you can, help out. If you can't, I'm sure they'll understand. This is my way of helping. I'm just getting off of 13 months of unemployment, so I've got quite a few bills that have been racking up for a long time, so I personally can't send anything to help them out. This is pretty much the best that I can do right now. But I do tell you this, that as soon as I can, I will be helping them out in whatever way I can. I do DIY here. If I can set myself up something, I will DIY some stuff, and if I can find my way into being able to afford the shipping over there, I will be getting in touch and send over a couple of bottles of juice here and there as best as I can. But as of right now, that's going to be in the future. So that's pretty much all I have to say. So I'm going to chop out of here now, and I'll let you folks have the rest of your Easter in peace and quiet without me splashing myself all over your screen. I want to thank you very much, if you're still listening, for listening and taking the time to listen to what I had to say. I hope this helps out in some way, in any way, those folks over there. So I wish you the most joyous Easter that you can have, the most peaceful Easter that you can have. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be ever at your back. God bless.